So your company has moved its headquarters. It has a new address. What do you need to do in terms of your SEC filings? What do you need to do with the SEC going forward? Today on Zippy Point.
Quick Zips by Zippy Point.
Quick and dirty. I'm Brock Romanek, and I'm a big fan of yous. When you move your address for your headquarters, there are two things that you need to do in terms of the SEC. The first is to make the address change to your company data through the SEC's Edgar filing website. Here are the instructions about how to do that from the SEC's Edgar FAQs page. You need to go to the Retrieve Edit Data page for company information and make the address change. As you can see here from Boeing's Edgar page, each company has a business address and a mailing address displayed, and they may not be the same. They're not the same here for Boeing. Its business address is a P.O. box in Seattle. Its mailing address is where its headquarters is in Chicago, and Boeing is incorporated in Delaware. And this is what the SEC's Edit Company Information page looks like when you click that Retrieve Edit Data link. So that's how the two different addresses get inputted. As noted on the SEC's Edgar FAQs page, any changes to company information made via the Retrieve Edit Data page will not appear on the Edgar database, will not appear on the company's page on Edgar publicly until after the company has made a public filing, after the address has been changed in the Edgar database. So unlike changes to a company's name, and I have a separate Vid-Guide about all the things you need to do with the SEC when you change a company's name, it's a little bit different than when you change the address. A link to that Vid-Guide is below. The SEC's Edgar filer support team doesn't need to review and approve your address change. That change is automatically made without review in the Edgar database, but it won't display on the company's Edgar page until you make your first SEC filing. And with the next filing that you make with the SEC, an 8K, a 10Q, a 10K, maybe it's a registration statement, you would include the new address at the top of the filing, right there where it says address of principal executive offices. Then you must list your old address too and state that it is a former address beneath the older address in parens. So here's what the form of Form 8K looks like, and it quietly indicates that this parens with former address is required on the cover page of an 8K after you have an address change in parens. It's not in the instructions to the Form 8K, it's just listed there in the model Form 8K. And the model Form 10Q and Form 10K have that too. If you have an address change and in your next filing is an 8K, a 10Q, a 10K, you're going to have the new company address up there near the top of the cover page, and then the old address, the former address, right beneath that. And I believe that most companies continue to do this with their periodic reports, with their 8Ks. They have the former address included on the cover page until they get to the next Form 10K. So they have at least one Form 10K that notes that the address has been changed. So here's an example of a voluntary Form 8K that's filed under item 801, a voluntary 8K, just indicate that the company's headquarter address has changed. And in this particular case, the company is disclosing that its phone number has not changed. And then there's a press release too that's attached as Exhibit 99 under item 9.01. So whether you file a voluntary 8K is up to you, it's voluntary, or maybe you want to wait until your next 8K or 10Q or 10K that is required, and stick the fact that you've had a address change for your headquarters in that filing to make the disclosure to the world. Form 8K allows you to include multiple items in it that are completely unrelated. So you could have something that's required, one of the items that's not an item 8.01, and then you would have an 801 item in that 8K for the fact that you've had this headquarter address change. And if you're issuing a press release to announce the headquarters address change, you might as well file it as a voluntary 8K anyways, but again, that's up to you. It's easy to file these 8Ks. You can also have to alert the exchange, the stock exchange where your company has its stock listed, to let them know that you've had an address change. I believe their billing department needs to know. You may need to make filings with the various state offices if you're listed in those states as a foreign corporation registered to transact intrastate business. Keith notes that California is one of these states that does require a company to make a filing if its headquarter moves. I'm not sure what the other states require. Maybe you know. Let me know what you think.